It is 78 days till the man bans, and today we're talking about theme camps and whether or not you should join one. A lot of first timers are kind of given blanket advice like, oh, you should join a theme camp, it's your first time, like join a theme camp, it will be easier. And it can seem quite appealing because they have infrastructure, they know what they're doing, it can make it a bit easier as a first timer to have all of that set up for you, to have people around that really know what they're doing. But, there are pros and cons to joining theme camps. So the first thing is, why do you want to join a theme camp? Is it because of that? Is it because they have the infrastructure or they have some kind of benefit that you wouldn't be able to have as a solo burner or a first timer? Maybe they have showers or communal kitchen or, something. Especially if you're coming from abroad, it can be even more complicated and can be even more appealing to join a theme camp. But realistically, it should be about that theme camp's purpose or their gift, what that theme camp is about, what they are bringing and giving to Burning Man. That should be the reason why you want to join a theme camp. It shouldn't be because they have a shower. One of the principles is self-reliance, and if you're purely thinking of joining a theme camp so that you don't need to be self-reliant, then you're already kind of doing Burning Man a bit wrong. I can understand that, some people, they just can't live without their showers and stuff, and maybe that is a contributing factor to wanting to join a theme camp, but it really shouldn't be the main reason that you're joining one. It really should be about that camp's purpose and what they're doing, and that it's something that you are very excited about and enthusiastic to be a part of. Even if one of the reasons or the main reason you want to join a theme camp is for the perks, don't just sign up with any old theme camp because that could go horribly wrong. You still want to find a theme camp that kind of lines up with the type of experience you want to have. If you are not into, sound camps, loud music all the time, you probably don't want to join a theme camp that is all about that. If you're really into yoga or karaoke or whatever it is that you're into, there is probably a theme camp for that. So even if you are thinking of joining a theme camp for the perks, at least still try and find one that is doing something that kind of fits with you and who you are and what kind of experience you want to have, and something that you're excited about or happy to be a part of. Another reason for that is because there are camp duties. A lot of theme camps will expect you to participate and be part of that theme camp and carry out duties and have responsibilities. And it's going to be very difficult to do that if you really just don't love what they're doing. Because you're essentially saying, I'm willing to dedicate this amount of time while I'm at Burning Man to performing these duties to help keep the theme camp running. So if you don't like what they're doing, you don't enjoy it, it's going to be really hard for you to not resent the fact that you are spending time doing those things when you could be out doing something else. If you actually like the theme camp you're with and like what you're doing, then you're probably going to enjoy a lot of those duties rather than seeing them as a burden that's taking time away from you having fun at Burning Man. So before you join up with any theme camp, make sure you are totally aware of, what those duties are and how much time you're expected to spend doing them. Because I'm sure for a lot of people, even if you love your theme camp, there is only so much time at Burning Man that you are willing to spend kind of working compared to going out and having adventures. You'll also want to check out the theme camp dues. I made another video about theme camp dues and kind of why they exist, and you will want to know how much it is going to cost you to join that theme camp. Even if you really love what that theme camp's doing, you want to make sure that you're happy with the amount you're expected to contribute money-wise and what you're getting for that money. You want to feel like it's worth it. You don't want to kind of get there and be like, oh, I can't believe that I just paid someone this much money and, this is what I'm kind of getting for that money. You also need to be a little bit careful about theme camp promises, especially with newer theme camps, because those dues that everyone is paying to become part of that theme camp, they often go towards, the gear and the setup and stuff. So, a theme camp might promise oh, we're going to have showers and we'll have our own portaloos and this and this and this. And then you get there and find that those things just didn't materialize, Maybe they didn't budget well enough. Maybe not as many people joined the theme camp as they thought would. So they were really short in the dues department and just didn't have enough money to put into all of those things. And again, that can tie back to duties as well. If there are not as many members in the theme camp as the theme camp thinks there's going to be, does that then mean you're going to have to take on extra responsibilities to kind of keep everything running? There are horror stories pretty much every year of people that have joined theme camps that promised all these amazing things, and then they turned out to find that those things just weren't there. They just didn't happen. So you have to decide how flexible you are as well. You know, if they say there's going to be a portaloo just for your theme camp and then that doesn't end up happening, how big a deal is that? If you're really inflexible on it and you're like, no, I have to have these things, I cannot be in a situation where I turn up and that is not there, then consider going for a more established theme camp. And do some research. A lot of the kind of more established camps, they have websites or Facebook pages or, you know, some kind of online presence where you can see pictures from previous burns, you can see, you know, what kind of stuff the theme camp did at previous burns, and you kind of get a feel about whether or not things are good in that camp, whether they're delivering on promises, things like that. And you can always get in touch with the camp organizers and just kind of discuss any concerns. Also ask on forums as well, see if anyone has camped with that theme camp before and, you know, ask them, you know, what was it like? Did they have everything that they said they would? Was it good? What was the vibe like? You know, put some time into researching potential theme camps you want to join. Another appealing thing about theme camps is that social community. It's like built in. You're going to get there and that you're going to be camping with other people. You know, it's especially appealing if you are coming solo, if you're coming from abroad, something like that. But at Burning Man, there is so much opportunity to meet people. If you make sure that you camp in a good spot, you kind of check out the neighbours first, make sure they're nice people, chances are you will make friends with your neighbours. You'll have people around you to socialise with. You may not need to be in a camp with a ton of like built-in social community because you kind of build your own while you're there. So it shouldn't be like a huge factor. If you do have any kind of problems socialising, then a theme camp can be quite good for that because, you know, you are camping with all these other people. You're kind of in a situation where you're forced to get to know them. And, you know, it doesn't feel as awkward as kind of going up to your neighbours and being like, hi, I'm living next to you. But if the social aspect is a big thing for you, then again, you'll want to do some research into the theme camps, see kind of what the social atmosphere is like. Some theme camps put a lot of focus on, you know, socialising and community within the theme camp, and they might have like theme camp only events where it's just for members of that theme camp or kind of get to know you type things. And others don't, they just, you know, everyone just gets on with it. But really there is so much opportunity for meeting people and socialising at Burning Man that it shouldn't be that kind of high up on your list of pros and cons. Plus there can be a downside to it. You know, if you join a theme camp and you find you don't really get on with anyone there, then you're kind of stuck with them the whole time. Because if you camp separately and you decide like, you know, I don't really like my neighbours so much, then you could move or you could just not really have that much to do with them. But if you are camping in a theme camp, it's going to be very difficult to kind of avoid people if you just don't like the camp very much, you don't like the camp vibe, or you just don't really kind of get on with the people. You know, it's one of those things that can go two ways. You might just have an amazing time and kind of find amazing friends there, but equally that might not happen. There's really no way of knowing until you get there and experience it. A lot of theme camps have camp rules and most of them are pretty basic, you know, things like being good about mood, not making huge messes, you know, picking up after yourself. But some camps have kind of more extreme rules. They might have like a no dating within the theme camp rule. Some theme camps don't allow generators or RVs. So, you know, make sure that you know what the camp rules are and that you are okay with them. You don't want to end up, you know, rocking up with your generator and then being like, no, you can't have that. So make sure you're aware of any of the rules that the theme camps have and that you are okay with them. If you've been doing any researching about Burning Man, you have probably seen the no expectations pop up, and that applies to theme camps, kind of. You know, if you join a theme camp, you kind of should expect that it will be there when you get to Burning Man. You should expect that you will have a spot and that you will have at least some of the things that they promised would be there, and to have it communicated to you beforehand if any of those things aren't going to be there. But a lot of people join theme camps with kind of expectations that the other people in the camp will become like a second family to them. You know, you'll all become lifelong friends, or that joining a theme camp will make it so much easier to do Burning Man, or that you're not going to mind those duties and responsibilities that you have to do while you're there. You know, all of those things are totally unknown. Don't go into it expecting any of that stuff. You don't know if you'll get on with the other people, but you might get on with them amazingly. You don't know if you'll wake up and just be like, oh, you know, I really don't want to do duties. I want to go and do this other stuff. Or you might even find Burning Man harder because instead of just kind of being self-reliant and having to look after yourself, you have to kind of consider everyone else in the theme camp as well. There's really no way to know how you're going to handle it, whether you'll like it, whether you won't, until you've tried it. Just, you know, spend a bit of time thinking about, you know, why you want to join a theme camp and whether or not it really is the right move for you. Whether you are just doing it because people keep telling you should, or because you think it's going to be easier, or whether you might actually have a better time kind of doing it on your own. So whatever you decide to do, I hope that you have an amazing time. If you are going to join a theme camp, I hope you find one that is just an amazing fit for you and you just have an amazing time. If any of the rest of you have any advice on, you know, kind of that process of should I join a theme camp or should I do it alone, then let us know in the comments below. And if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye guys.